Hey guys, Hayden here again from Alarm System Store, and today we're going to be going over how to add and delete wired zones to the IQ Pro system. So I kind of touched on this a little bit in our hardwired zone install video. However, I'm going just a little bit more in depth on this particular subject. But essentially, with the IQ Pro, whenever you boot it up, because it has this main board here and it's designed as a hybrid system, you will have 8 hardwired zones right out of the gate. So if you're not using all 8 of those, there is a way to delete those so that your system doesn't try to supervise them or pay attention to them in any way, essentially. And what you do is you basically delete the zone. Now, whenever you do that, it removes it from the system. So today, we're just going to take a little bit more in-depth look at how you delete and re-add those wired zones. Specifically the ones on the main board. However, this does apply to any zone expander that you add as well. So if you have zone expanders and you delete some of the zones, you can go back in and re-add those as well. So anyway, we'll jump into it here. So we'll open up our security sensors section. You do have to sign in to the app using your installer or dealer code because that's what allows you access to program zones. However, once you get there, pull up the security sensors tab like this, and as you can see, I've removed all but one zone already. So we have this one zone here. This is just a normal door window contact. I set it up as a front door, and to delete that zone, let's say we weren't using it, you would just open up the zone, and then there is a little trash can down here at the bottom left. When you click on that, it asks you if you want to remove the device. Click remove, and it just takes it away from the system. However, if you'll notice, even though I have deleted all 8 wired zones, our core bus module is still showing here. And that's because the main board hasn't gone anywhere, it's still there. So the system knows to look for it, but we've basically told it to not look for any of the zones. So now, no matter what I do with this door contact, it's not going to be paying attention to it. However, let's say I did that by mistake, or you have new wired zones that you want to add. You can re-add these zones by opening up the actual core bus module here. When you do so, it doesn't give you many options up here, and it's not super obvious what you need to do here. However, down here at the bottom right is a little plus icon. Click on that, and that's going to basically add hardwired zone, like it says there at the top. So when you do it this way, it's going to want you to basically program the zone right out of the gate. That way it's just set up as soon as it's re-added to the system. So you're going to have to do that. So make sure you have an idea of what you're trying to add back. That way you can do so quickly. But under sensor name, that is going to be required. So we'll just do front door like I had a minute ago. Make sure your sensor type is the sensor that you're using. And then under sensor group, you can decide that as needed depending on how the sensor is going to be placed. Now, the rest of the programming is exactly the same as setting up an already existing hardwired input like you would normally see. However, down here at the bottom, you'll see where it says hardwire input. And that is where you decide what zone is actually going to be activated by this add, basically. So we have it, our door contact currently set to zone 1, so we're going to leave that as 1. However, let's say you wanted to add back zone 6 for some reason. You just open that up, click 6 there, and now whenever this gets re-added, the system is going to know to only look at zone 6 on the main board. So pretty straightforward, but I wanted to clarify that. You do also have to set your EOL settings. So as you can see, I'm not using resistor with this door contact, so we do need to set this to a normally closed. Once you're done with that, just click save. And as you'll see here, if I back out from the core bus module, it just re-adds that door contact. So after it gets added back, one nice thing about the IQ Pro is you can actually check the status of your zones in the programming. So you don't have to back out to test it. You can literally just move the magnet away from it. And if you have this little icon here, the blue with the S symbol in the middle, that is basically saying it is an open circuit, or the zone is, in an active status. So whenever you have the magnet or your door closed, it would be in a standby state. So there's no icon there, but when you move it, you should see that the zone activates and basically is triggered. So That is kind of handy whenever you're re-adding these wired zones. You can just hook them up. If you're setting up a door contact, just go open and close the door while you're holding the app, and you can see whether or not the system is reading it properly. And if not, you might have to adjust your EOL settings, you might have to adjust your wiring, whatever the case, but that will at least tell you if it's working before you back out and reboot your system, basically. So pretty short video, but that is the basics of how to remove and add wired zones. This is going to apply, like I said, to not only the main board here, but any zone expander you add. If you add a zone expander and you need to re-add a zone that you've deleted from the expander, you click on the actual expander module instead of the core bus, and under that expander you will have the same settings. You'll have hardwired input 1 through 8, which is going to be 1 through 8 on that expander, which is going to allow you to, set up whatever you need to. But that is going to do it for this video. Hopefully that was informative for any of you that might have been stuck at that stage. It's not super obvious how to re-add wired zones, so I wanted to go over it specifically. Anyway, if you guys have any questions or any comments, by all means, let us know down below. And if you don't mind, leave a like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next one.